Is it possible to decenter men if I'm in a relationship or married?
Welcome to part 1 of how to decenter your husband if you are a married person.
So one of the biggest regrets I have about centering my husband in my marriage.
I say this with full love for men, but the reality is that men are draining by default.
But I would never, ever put my life and leave my life and my future in the hands of a man.
I'm trying to figure out, if so many women are decentering men, why do they stay pregnant?
I'm glad you stopped by, amazing viewer. This is Comfort for Life, and I bring to you a compilation of TikTok videos for educational purposes. For a while now, I've been seeing videos running on my For You page on TikTok of women speaking of decentering men, but most of the time they are singles speaking of decentering men when you are dating them so that you don't have to do wifey duties. But at this time I saw a bunch of women speaking of how they have decentered their husband and the mistakes that they did in centering them. So this video isn't about the 70,000 men who are found in a Telegram group sharing their rape, whatever. I don't know who is funding what they're doing, but yeah, it's not about that. So this video is about the most important thing that I've heard women speak about when they give reasons why they don't want to get married. Most of them say those who are married lose themselves. So I don't want to lose myself in marriage. That's why I don't want to get married. I will let you listen to the few clips that I put together, but don't hesitate to leave your thoughts in the comment section. Let's have a conversation around this. Are you married? What do you experience? What are you doing? How are you navigating things to do with your career and the fact that you're married? Are you a stay-at-home wife? Are you fulfilled by that? How are you feeling? So all those are the things that we have to look at as we help women who don't want to engage in marriage because they think they will get lost.
Some of you seem to be confused about what decentering men actually means, so allow me to explain it to you. You can be in a relationship and still decenter men. You can be married and still decenter men. You can be celibate, you can be actively dating and still have men decentered in your life. What this phrase means is that you have established a life outside of the approval and the desire of men. So how do you know if you're doing that? Here are a few questions that you can ask yourself. First, if I did not care about looking attractive or looking sexy to the opposite sex, what would I actually like to wear? What makes me feel comfortable? How do I want to show up in the world? If I did not get married, how could I create the best and most abundant life for myself? What would that look like? Am I actively creating that life now? And lastly, what hobbies or interests do I have that don't involve being around men or have male attention as a component of it? That's all it is. I don't know where the narrative came from that suggested that decentering men equated to hating men. That is not the case. We've seen now that so many women get into these relationships with men, and when the relationship ends, they don't even know who they are or what they enjoy doing. We are no longer losing ourselves in relationships because we don't have to.
Is it possible to decenter men if I'm in a relationship or married? In my experience, I say yes, and it's simply because decentering men or males just simply means you will no longer self-sacrifice. And this is not to say that your family is not as important as your self-healing and self-love journey is, but the point is we will no longer allow our partners to be the center of our world. If your relationship has always been about you decentering yourself, it will not be easy to make this transition. It will be hard. He or she, they, then may not like it, and you even may have a hard time saying no. And I would highly recommend working with your therapist and or counselor to make this transition if you do not feel well equipped to do so. It doesn't have to be everything all at once, but it just simply means that you will no longer abandon your own well-being. And it also will require a deep and heartfelt conversation with your spouse. Let them know what you need. Be very honest. Be very candid. It's absolutely possible. And it's especially possible if it's done from the beginning. But if you've already been in this relationship for a period of time, there's always room for growth. And if you cannot grow in a relationship, then maybe that relationship can no longer serve you at your fullest, highest self.
Welcome to part 1 of how to decenter your husband if you are a married person. And if you are a married person and you have a husband, getting back to your intuition and tapping into your inner wisdom and saying to yourself, allowing yourself to ask, what do I want and how do I feel? It doesn't make you selfish. It doesn't mean that you are never, ever considerate of his needs and you're just an inconsiderate, mean partner. But decentering, and the way I've done it, is, again, by tapping into that intuition and really allowing myself to say, okay, Nicole, what is the right boundary for you in this instance? It doesn't even have to do anything with my husband. But what is the right boundary for you? How do you feel? Checking into your nervous system and saying, okay, does this feel right or does it not feel right to you? Instead of defaulting to him, right? Or it also means to not be constantly checking up on him and, again, defaulting to him and making him the center of everything that you do. And a lot of women abandon themselves. We lose our sense of self and our sense of identity when we get into a serious relationship and, in this case, get married. And we can put our husband at the center of our universe. And we have been taught to do this. We've been taught to cater to men from a very young age. So we just repeat those patterns in our marriage, right? And if this sounds familiar to you, if you have centered your husband for a long time and you're like, yeah, I need to get back to myself and more of what I did and what works for me. And also, just want to put it out there that if you're in a bad situation, the decentering is still a good idea to get back to yourself, but also maybe make arrangements to, get out. But if that's your situation, but I'm more or less talking about decentering. Yeah, divorce can happen, right? That is always an option. This isn't about staying together or not staying together. I'm not going to tell you what to do with your marriage, but I am going to talk about decentering and, again, what I did. And just my general concept of it is really about tapping back into your intuition. And a lot of women have their intuition stripped of them from a very young age because we're told to be accommodating, be nice, and just go along with everything and just be quiet. Let the men talk. Don't express your opinion, if you're in a family situation, and you learn these things growing up. So, decentering, tap back into you. Ask yourself, what do I want and how do I feel? It's not selfish. You're not a mean partner for doing that.
Here's a few things I've learned after going broke, being homeless, living with a guy that I thought was going to be my husband and having him kick me out with nowhere to go, having deadbeat friends and deadbeat family members, is that as a woman, you should always have your own. Have your own place, have your own money, have your own everything. So even if one day I decide to get married, I will still always have my own apartment or my own condo, my own penthouse or my own house somewhere. Okay? Even if we are married, you have your place, I have my place. We can still have multiple properties together, but I would never, ever, ever, ever put my life and leave my life and my future in the hands of a man, no matter how good he is. Because people change when they're no longer getting the things that they want. And I don't hate men. I actually love men. I enjoy men, but the good men, the men that are worth it. And 90% of the men on the internet are horrible. You guys are bitter. You guys are broke. You spend all day on the internet. I'm in New York City where people like to honk, if you can hear. Don't get me wrong. I'm still broke myself, but I learned about stocks. I learned about investing my money. I learned about saving. I learned about different grants and loans and funding and all these business things that I've never learned before because I was homeless at one point, and I would never ever let that happen again. So now I'm learning everything I have to do in order to take care of myself forever. fucking New York. And did you know women are the ones who are buying up all the property and real estate right now? Women. So I don't think I need to be afraid about finding a man to fund my life. I need to fund my life for myself. And when that person comes along, he can join me. I'm perfectly fine. But I would never give up anything that I own that's in my name ever for a person. Don't mind my hair. I just got off of work because I got to take care of myself. No matter if my guy has money or not, no matter what. I have a business that I started, actually 2 businesses, and I still get up and go to work because multiple streams of income is what's going to set you free. Ooh, this building's cute. Look at this. Look how pretty this is. I bet the guy who wrote this comment would never ever be in the presence of this building. Shoulda will. I forgot to mention one thing. I moved to New York City with a carry-on suitcase and a one-way ticket from Delta. I have my own place, okay? It's the first time I've ever had my own place ever in my life. And this was one of my bucket lists, and I did it, and I accomplished a goal. So the sky's not the limit. Just so you know that women accomplish and achieve their goals all the time. We just don't brag about it. We don't have to brag about it. So that was one of my proudest moments ever.
I believe at my core that if women truly knew how most men really think and how they feel about women would not do stupid things, idiotic, dumb things like give up their careers for these men, give up their jobs and to be a stay-at-home wife, mother, and girlfriend without having their own money. That's the key part. You can give all that up, but as long as you still got your own money, you're good, right? If you're going to do that. But you wouldn't do things like give up your friends and your hobbies, because there's a lot of women out there, the first thing they do is give up their friends and go ghost once they get a man or once they get married and whatever, right? You wouldn't give up the things that make you happy. You wouldn't be moving across town. You wouldn't be making all of these sacrifices. Across the country, making all of these sacrifices, giving things up, changing your religion, changing your core beliefs, throwing your wigs away, even though you love wigs, but the man is like, I don't like wigs, or throwing your makeup collection away because the man is like, I don't like women who wear makeup, even though you're a makeup artist or makeup is your life, right? You wouldn't do these dumbass things. If you knew that most men can't love you, they can't possibly love you, especially not in the way that women love men. Men will beat you down trying to convince you men actually love hard. We love stronger and harder than women, blah, 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 blah. But their strong and hard is never like in the way that women need it. Like, you love me so much harder, but you can't keep your dick in your pants. You love me so much harder, but you can't stop lying to me and being gaslighty and all that stuff, right? If y'all knew how men thought, you wouldn't be a fool for them. And you damn sure wouldn't love them more than they love you. I am going to put in a clip from the late, great Patrice O'Neal. If you know, you know. This is going to be the best analogy that you will ever probably see in your life. If you come across a better one, link it below or put it in the comment section so I'll check it out. In my opinion, you're never going to come across any analogy better than this one that thoroughly explains to any woman. You should be able to understand this point of view and why most men kind of see women as a burden. They really don't want to be stuck with one woman forever. They really are annoyed by the sound of your voice or, whatever it is, right? Most men don't marry for love. They marry for convenience. And because of that, they get easily irritated. You're dragging them to the pumpkin patch. You're dragging them to kids' soccer games that they don't want to go to. Every time y'all have an event, a family event, he always acts like he doesn't want to be there because he doesn't. He's doing what society told him to do in order to be seen as a man. Or he needs a wife appliance or a wife slave. Shout out to Bourbon Bougie. Right? I'm going to put this clip and then I'm going to come back with the rest of my commentary. Now, the biggest key to this for women is to take your emotions out of it. This is very, very important. You must take your emotions out of it. Don't get offended. Don't have thin skin. Put your big girl panties on. This is going to trigger a lot of y'all. Okay? But it's necessary that you listen to this with open-minded ears, if you will.
I'm trying to like make it so women just like understand a little bit of like just to sympathize. It's like we're like sport fishermen. This is what I'm saying. Men like to fish, and sport fishing is different from catching fish for food. You just get it, you catch it, and you show your friends. Because you want them to know that you can catch fish. You take a couple of pictures so you can show people the fish that you have the ability to catch. And then you release it back into the water. But a lot of women in here, you have boyfriends or husbands. You a fish that jump back on the boat and just was like flapping, looking at me like, hi, I was wondering if you're going to be fishing here again next week. Like, yeah, for other fish. Get off my boat. Is that how you treat all the fish? You'd be like, oh, God damn. Nope, I'm sorry, sweetie. You're the last fish I ever wanted to be with. Now you're stuck. Stuck with the last fish who was loving you and fighting hard to be on your boat. Then she got comfortable, and now instead of doing this, she's like, so we've been together for like a year now. Why do you still have a boat? You'd be like, so what's she trying to say? I can't catch fish no more? Why do you need to catch a fish? Because if I lose my ability to catch fish, then you're not gonna find me sexy no more. So you gotta smell fish on me so that you know I can catch fish so you can act right.
Now, I remember the very first time I seen that was years ago. I did a video about Corey Holcomb on TikTok yesterday, and some guys, I got a lot of like positive feedback from the guys, which I did not expect, because men, they typically hate me. So I was just like, what? Right? And they kept bringing up Patrice O'Neal in my comment section. And I was like, yeah, I remember him. He was one of my favorite comedians along with Corey Holcomb back in the day. And the thing that I liked about both of them was their comedy style, which was being an asshole comedian that just didn't care and told it how it was. And I watched that clip again. I went back and started watching more Patrice O'Neal clips again. You know how you kind of go back through the cycle of watching your favorite type of videos, and I'm sitting there in tears crying, y'all. Like, I'm surprised, like I was like in tears watching his clips, and I came across that one, and I'm like, I gotta share this with my women audience. Now, I think a lot of us know who Patrice O'Neal is. For those of you who don't know who he is, a lot of y'all know that a lot of men have disdain for women. But I really wanted to share it because I'm like, that is the best analogy that you're ever going to get as far as understanding, for those of you who don't understand how men really feel. Even if you think you got a unicorn man, that man typically is playing the game. I have a guy that I am very fond of, but I still know he's a man. I'm never going to lose sight of that, right?
Allow me to give my 2 cents on this, and this is something that I've learned after I've been in marriage for 9 years. So I've also reached to a point where I had to I feel like this decenterment is a very strong term. If you can find a slight term to use, kindly let us know. What else can we say so that we don't say decenterment? It's like, I kind of feel like the only person that you can decenter is a supreme being, I kind of feel that way. But when you say maybe detach, I feel like decenter and detach, which term should we use here? I was also a victim of the same thing, And let me generalize this for a while. Women, when they find their soulmate, they accept, they say yes to marriage, they have these preconceived ideas of what a man should be like, what they're looking for, what they want to see. And the same as men, they also have these preconceived ideas, So when we come into marriage, it's like we are all building marriages on hypotheses, on expectations. And then when we start now living the reality, when it doesn't match, things start becoming bad and they become clashes. And when women speak of decentering men because of having put them at the center of all, I understand this very well. There was a time that the only thing that I could think about was my man, my kids, my man, my kids, my man. So my world was centered there. It took so many sessions of counseling for me to be able to to even recognize who I was personally, as me, as Comfort, as me, for me to recognize who I was, because I was kind of blinded. I was living an illusion of life, you know. I was living a kind of, I forgot who I was. I got lost in marriage. For me, it's even worse because I even got depressed. So when these women speak of decentering men, I understand what they mean. But do you really agree that it's men that they need to decenter? I feel like what they need to decenter is the ideologies that they have already built of what marriage should be like, you know. When you break down those ideologies and you let yourself be loved by the person authentically, the way they want to love you, it's when you start understanding the meaning of marriage, you know. Yeah, and this thing of giving up on your dreams and stuff, for me, I still believe up to now that marriage is just a stage in life. It is not an accomplishment. It's not an achievement. So even though you're married, you still have your dreams and visions for life. Yes, I don't mind. I don't mind if you decide to be a stay-home mom. Let that be your decision, but let's not that be enforced by a man. Yeah, for you to be to live your dreams, to pursue this other thing that is called raising children. You know, you can both do that. You can combine things. You can still work on your dreams and raise your kids, which is a cool thing to do. Everyone would want to do that. But giving up on your dreams because of a man and it didn't come from you, that's when I feel like the thing you need to decenter isn't even men. It's your ideology, and understand that marriage isn't an achievement and that you have to keep living, you know, keep pursuing your dreams. So I will let you listen to someone with a different opinion who spoke of what needs to be decentered rather than speaking of decentering men.
I always see people come on the internet talking about some decenter men. Baby, there are a lot of things you need to decenter, but men is not one of them. Let me talk you through what you need to start decentering. The first thing you need to decenter is desperation. Please. Stop letting these men treat you like a kangaroo's ass crack and then still be running up after him. Learn to see and identify and react to red flags. I love you guys, but I can't keep hearing, oh, I met this guy, I slept with him, then he ghosted me, and then he came back 3 months later. What shall I do? What do you mean, what should you do? What else can you do but have shame and move on with your life? Please. Please decenter desperation, because that is what it's giving. And I love you guys deep, but please let's stop letting these men drag us like a mop. Decenter desperation. The second thing you need to decenter is sex on the first night. Stop sleeping with these men on the first night and wondering why you can't get a situation. And I don't want to hear about your best friend Sally June who met her man on the first night and now they're married for 5 years. There's always an exception to the rule. For best results, assume it's not you. So if we assume that we are not the exception and understand that most men are led by their desire for sex, the common sense thing to do when we are meeting men is to not give it to them early. And I beg of you, nobody come in my comments and talk about, oh, those are boys. Oh, no, I'm looking for good men. No, it's all men. It's all men. The reality is you can meet the best guy. If he's a good guy and he's got brains and smarts in his head, he is not going to respect you for sleeping with him on the first night because he knows you do not need to do that. He knows that you know that in society it's seen as hoish to sleep with a man on the first night and you've done it anyway. He's going to judge you. He can be the greatest guy on earth. It's 2 + 2 = 4. Decenter sleeping with men on the first night, because what's the difference between sleeping with them on the first night and week 3 apart from a complete lack of self-control? Have some self-control, ladies. The sex ain't gonna be that good anyway. Damn. The third thing we need to decenter, ladies, is dating apps. Please decenter dating apps. Dating apps are a man's playground. Because first of all, the reality is no valuable man, no sensible man, let me not say no. Most valuable and sensible men are not going on dating apps to find women because they don't need to. The easiest thing for a valuable man to find is women. Because first of all, there's about 12 men that are type anyway, tall, good looking, got money. They have, if you like him, 300 other girls like him in your city alone. Like, men who are valuable have women throwing themselves at them. They don't need to go and join a dating app. Let me tell you who joins dating apps. The middling guys that nobody really wants that much, and they have to kind of work hard to get girls. But guess what? Guess where there's girls? And there's girls that are eager to meet men and eager to want to find their husband and willing to bring their standards down because they've been trying for so long and they can't find anything out there. Where? Dating apps. Because the truth is, nobody wakes up and joins a dating app as a woman. You try and date first, and then when you realize it's tough out here, you go onto the dating apps. No hate, no shade, but everyone on dating apps has struggled in the real world dating, and their dating app is their last chance. That's already a bad mentality to start dating with as a woman. But once a man knows that, men are predators. They take advantage of things. Why would a man not join somewhere where he knows the women are basically, in his mind, desperate? It's 2 + 2. So you get these men with these mindset, and they're not going there looking for relationship, marriage, most of them. They're going there looking for sex, and they're going there looking for easy sex. So the dating apps are just a way worse version of dating in person. Please avoid them. The fourth thing you need to decenter is shooting your shot. I'm so sorry. Please stop shooting your shot. Please. Again, I know your cousin Jessie Ann shoots her shot all the time, and now she's married with her husband. She was the exception, you are not. Especially if you are the kind of woman that is looking for a man to be an alpha, a head, especially if you're looking for a man to pay all your bills as well, and to lead in life. It is very alpha to shoot your shot. And the thing is, men will always encourage you to shoot your shot because men want guaranteed pumps. That's the truth. If you shoot your shot, it's so much harder for you to kind of drag your feet on sleeping with a man because he's like, hold on, you came to me. So now you want me to chase you, but you brought it to me. I'm confused. The reality is a man who wants you will shoot his shot. He might not do it straight away. He might take him to build up his courage. But if a man sees you and he wants you, he's going to find a way to talk to you. And he's going to find a way to communicate and get your details, or at least ask. Don't let this be confused with the men who just stare until the end of time. Listen, if that man is staring at you, not speaking, there's a reason he's not speaking. And it's usually because he's got a girlfriend. Ladies, please stop it. Stop shooting your shot at these men because you don't even know what they've got going on. And the fifth and final thing you should decenter is not working on your appearance. A lot of women are struggling in dating today, and let me be very real, because of how they look. You're not working on yourself, and nobody wants to talk about this because it's sensitive, but I love you guys, so I'm just going to be real. Work on your physical appearance. Look good, because at the end of the day, social media has created such a pressure in this dating game where you can just look at the most beautiful women at the tip of your fingers, and a lot of men have a lot of unrealistic expectations of how women should look. I'm not telling you to meet those unrealistic expectations. What I'm telling you to do is, if you want to date, try and operate in your peak. So try and get your body how you want your body in terms of fitness. Try and work on your face, your hair, your skin, your femininity. Just try to bring your best self to the dating game. Because dating is very much about looks. Let nobody lie to you. It's like saying, oh, well, you should be able to come as you are. Baby, if you're a lawyer and you're not able to come as you are, you need to go and get all your accreditation. You need to go study. You need to get, passed about all that stuff. You can't just show up as you are. Certain tasks require certain requirements. And dating, a key requirement that will really, really help you is how you look. And I'm not saying you need to conform to societal norms and standards of beauty. What you need to do is operate in the way that you feel the best about yourself, where you feel the most beautiful. Because once you feel beautiful about yourself, your confidence will grow. The way you operate will be different. The things you tolerate will be different. So work on becoming the best version of you physically. Yes, emotionally and mentally too, but physically it will help you a lot. Because a lot of women are tolerating trash from men, trash behavior, because they feel ugly. That's the truth. If you are really honest with yourself, a lot of women are tolerating rubbish from men because they can't believe, A, they've got this man, and B, they don't want to lose him because they don't think they can get another man that looks like him, even though he's treating them like chewed up, spit out garbage. So please, decenter not working on your appearance. I promise you that if you decenter these things, your dating experience with men will be so much better. You will have a clearer head when you're dealing with men. You will have more self-love, more self-respect, which means you will have high standards for these men. You will have so much more fun in dating because you will have options. The choice often will be yours. So if you are struggling in dating and you're in a place where you feel like you need to decenter men, please do me a favor and decenter these things in this video and let's see how it goes. Come back and report. All right, ladies, love you deep. Now, like I always say, there's always an exception to the rule. For best results, assume it's not you.
Amazing viewer, I'm glad you watched this extent. Don't hesitate to leave your thoughts in the comment section. We are here to interact. What do you think? What do you think? Decenter, desperation, have self-love, you can number. I love that perspective. Yeah. Yes, I do believe in love, but also I know for sure that the only person who can love you unconditionally is God. Every human being kind of love, is based on interest. So, yeah, make sure you love someone who is adding up into your life as well, not someone who is drowning you, that you can't pursue your dreams. No, thank you. Choose wisely and stay blessed. And change of perspective can lead to your freedom. Thank you.